So yesterday we were trying to integrate JavaScript with our application, right? So apart from that, whatever we had covered, any questions so far? Anything? I have uploaded the video in YouTube. So if anybody want to again see, and also I have uploaded the code. Pratik, have you seen that?
No, sir, I doesn't see the video, but I see the code.
Okay, even video I have uploaded today only, so you can. Okay, so we'll continue that. Yesterday we had. Is it okay like the way I am, covering this web application sessions? It's not like I'm going topic wise. Is it a good approach, or do you think like we should topic wise we should start or something like that? How do you think? Whether it's a practical approach or theoretical approach, which one is good? I mean, because I feel like this is the best way to teach these topics, because if I keep telling you the theory, I don't think it would be a good idea. But still, if anybody wants to cover separately what is that and what is other things, right? They can ask me and I can definitely tell. Is that okay?
Yeah, it is okay for me.
Say okay or something, you can respond, you guys, no problem. Okay. So yesterday we had some problem, right, regarding that. I fixed it today. I got time, so I just there was some just minor coding problems. So let me just check it. EMP. So click on this. I made it something like register yourself will come. I make it a little nicer than what we did yesterday. So username, password, email ID, country, and then gender, and then you can click on register. But as you can see here, see, name must be filled out. So this name it is talking about, right? So I'll tell you what are the things we need to do for this. I'll not cover this much. I was not supposed to cover that, but I thought let's tell you about briefly about this. I do not work on these JavaScripts and all. I hardly see these code, but again, so it's a similar. Forget about the decoration part and all these things. You need not to worry how these are the CSS and HTML codes. Apart from that, what is the main thing is that whatever the form, the input, these are called the input details. I mean, be it a text box, be it a select button. That's why I just kept one select button also, select button, and all these things. Whatever you see, right? These are the called the input elements. So user provide these input element by typing, by clicking, by hovering down, by selecting radio button, by selecting checkbox. So these types of input box are called the elements of a form. It's like filling up a form, right? You go to some what I say, you go to a doctor, right? You fill up the form. These are the problems, or these are the this one, or you go for your college admission or anywhere, you need to fill up the form, right? And the fill up of form is something like text. You need to where you need to enter, somewhere you need to just tick mark, somewhere you need to just you know pinpoint button, or all these things, right? You see in your lives all the time, right, the form. So this all these elements are the type of forms, the form elements. So in HTML web application also, note that these are not the Java. This is nothing to do with Java, okay? Whatever I'm telling you. So the form element, whatever you are seeing here, it starts with form, and it has the two elements like a name. What is the form name? So after that, the action, whatever the action it will take. So when we click on the when we click on submit button, what is the action it will take? So it will call the register user servlet, and on submit I have written return validate form. So this return validate form is, this is a JavaScript method I am calling, that whenever a user will click on submit button, that is the register button, it will call a validate method of JavaScript, and method type will be post. This is for I hope you guys know what is a get and post. Yesterday we had covered that. So this will the post that it will not be seen in the URL. Okay, so this validate form is nothing but the JavaScript, and what I did is I have created one file emp manager. Okay, and in emp manager.js, which is stands for JavaScript, in that I have written this validate form method, the function. And this function, the validate form, this will be, this return will call that particular, not return, I mean this will call this particular method, this one. And if it returns false, as you can see here, it will return the false if it is empty. I'll explain you this code also. Return the false only if certain criteria is not fulfilled. And if it return, that return is there, right? If it returns false, it will not go to the next page, which is register user servlet. As you can see here, right, register user servlet. So it will not pass to there, it will come back to the same page again. As you can see here, if I don't put anything and try to click on register, it will say name must be filled out. If I say okay, it will point me to here that enter the username, right? That means you are not giving the username. But if I fill the username, I'll give password also, I'll give email ID also, which is not correct. Okay, now the problem is with email ID. This is nothing like, there is no such mail email ID like this, right? If I click on this, it will say please enter a valid email ID. I'll say okay. Again, it will point me to the that particular checkbox where the problem is happening. So if I say, suppose like okay, divakar@gmail.com, and then click register, as you can see here, it is going to register user servlet. That means nothing has been returned as a false, and all these criteria are getting fulfilled. So the usage of this JavaScript is to do the client side validation. So these validations are happening in your browser only. It is not going to your server, nothing. So what is the benefit of using that is, whatever the logic operations you do on server, it comes with a cost. What cost? Suppose I don't fill username and click on register, it will HTTP request will go to the server, and server will pass that HTTP request, and it will find that username is not set there. And now if username is not set there, it will not, it can't do anything without the username, right? Then it will respond you back, hey, set the username also, you have made it you didn't fill the username. Now think about the, it has the think about the resources it has taken, right? The request has gone to the server, Tomcat has passed it, and Tomcat has forwarded to the web application, passed the header data, passed it, did the logic operations, failed, then came back again, response, then rendering again, and then it is showing, right? All this comes with a cost, latency, the problem, the server load. To reduce that, these things has the JavaScript, right? It runs on your browser. So even if you have no Java application, even if you have to have no Tomcat server running, you can still write your JavaScript code and you can run it in your browser. There is nothing else you need to do, and you can do without any problem. So that is the main benefit of using JavaScript. And I did only two basic validations, that the username can't be null. So what I did, see here, so registration form is my form name, and you will see that username has a name as a username here. So input type equals to text, and just focus on these things what I'm telling. Name equals to username. Okay, so this is the input name, and the form name is registration form, and the password also has a password, email has email. And forget about all these things, this is for a space I am putting, nbsp is for a space, just to align it to the this line is there, right, to just to align that. So for email we have this one email, then we have a country, and then we have this gender, right? So in gender you will see that it's not typing things. So we know that gender is generally male and female only, right? So why I will ask user to type it, whether it is simply select it, right? So these are called the select elements. There are other types of input elements also. You can put checkbox, you can put radio button, you can put multiple select, you can put text area, all these things you can put it. And you can see that HTML form elements. So there are many elements which are available, you can see. And these are select text area, then the button, then these are the options: button, keygen, data list, output. There are many, I mean, forget about that, these things. So basic thing is input box. Then the password, if you put type as a password, it will come as a password only. So enter the password, I'm telling, enter the email ID, placeholders. So these are the things where you need to main focus. What is the type of input? Its input type is text. What is the element name? It's a username. What is the input type of this is password. What is the name of this is password, and name is password. So these elements you can retrieve when you click on the return, when you click on the submit button here. You call it as submit, and submit and name as a register. Once you click on the register, it calls the validate form, and the validate form internally takes all these input inside this as a registration form data. So what I'm doing here in JavaScript, I'm trying to get the data which is provided by the user in username box. So username element is username, form name is registration form. So this is how we get it. We say document dot forms and select the form. So form name is registration form. Then I'll say okay, select username, then dot value. So whatever I am providing, get it here. So I'll just rename it as a username. Okay, so I'll say okay, if username equals to null or it is empty, okay, we will alert is for message, that pop-up message is coming, right? We'll say alert, and then we will say username must be filled out. It should not be it can't be empty. And then document.form.registration form.username.focus. This focus, actually what it does is, just I'll tell you what actually it does. So I'm not filling anything, so it's empty, right? So once I click on this, username must be filled out, it is telling, which is executing this code. And then you will see that this focus method is getting called. Actually what it does is, it will point you to that particular text box where the problem is. So just be careful that just concentrate on this, that the username will be get highlighted. You will see that the blue color, sky blue color will it will come here once I click on OK. So see here, OK, you will see that automatically my pointer has moved to the username. Okay, that means it is telling that okay, this element is not filled. Now same thing I can do for password also. So let me just do that for password. So I'll say okay, get password, and I'll make only these two fields as mandatory. So password, and then I'll say okay, password is not filled, password, and then I'll say password must be filled out. Okay, now let me try once again. So this time I'll put username, and I will not put the password. Okay, so as you can see, it's not highlighted right now. I'll click on register. It'll say that password must be filled out. I'll click OK. Okay, oh sorry, here I did not change this to password. The focus has to be on the password. So let me check this now. See, the focus has come to the password. So similarly you can do for now the thing, third thing is, what I did is, I did the validation for email ID. So if I put something correctly as a Divakar and password as pass, then if I put something wrong format of this, it'll say that enter a email valid email ID, and you'll see again this get highlighted. There is a regular expression, as you can see here. This is called the regular expression. Okay, so this regular expression, actually what it does is, it's a it says something like your email ID must start with some word or something, then at between there has to be one at the rate, then it should be between 1 to Z, then it should contain only one dot, then it should be something between A to Z, some domain name and all these things, right? You do not have to memorize this, you can get it online everywhere. These regular expression is present. I just use that one. Don't apply much brain to this one. This is nothing but a kind of wild characters or general regular expressions. You can do study about it. It's something like a pattern matching. It should start with it should start with always A to Z and all these things, right? So they have their own format of writing, the way of writing. If you want everything has to be digit, you can slash d, you would put it. So these are the things there for regular expressions. If you are interested, you can read about it on online. But this is what I am doing again, getting the email ID and checking against this regular expression, and if it is matching, then it is fine. If it is not matching, I am telling that okay, alert, email ID is not valid. Okay, so I'm not going to cover much of the JavaScript. This is what it's going to be now. Okay, so this part is done now. So everything is filled out. Then what will happen? So I'll fill out everything. Let me get it done everything properly. Pass as a pass and let it be mail, and then click on register. What is happening? It is going to the register user servlet. Okay, but here if you see, I am printing out here, and it is perfectly printing username Divakar, pass as pass, email ID Divakar, this India, country and gender as a male, right? I am retrieving all these value at here. Now what I need to do, I need to persist into the DB. So this register user servlet which is getting called, so here we have a register user servlet, and we need to we have already got this, right? The user, in user details we have a user this data, right? So first thing we need to do is to set up the database in this particular application, right? We did before this also, right? So I'll do one thing. I'll copy this leave directory from here, and I'll put it in webinf. Okay, so we already have this one, so I'll just simply copy and put into the lib. So first thing I did is MySQL connector I have added. I hope everybody knows about all these things. Remember, after that, what I need to do is just click on this. After that, we need to set up the connection and all these things, right? So we had done this common. So I'll copy this common here and put it here. So now as you can see here, connection factory we have. Okay, and in connection factory we do the connection part things, right? We had done, and this is the connection properties. We had this one, and what user, what database we had used. Let me just, yesterday we had used, okay, use, let me see the database. So database is use, what DB had used, employee DB. Anybody remembers what DB I had created yesterday? Hello. Okay, sorry.
I think
Actually, I do
man.
not see the messages. I actually hide this, so I don't see actually messages. Okay, you can speak, no problem. Okay, so employee DB.
I think so.
Okay,
I think so. It's employee DBA.
yeah. Employee DB. So tables. Yeah, user is there. Describe user. Okay, so we have username, password, email ID, country and sex, right? Okay, fine, perfectly fine, right? So we will right now, if I do select star from user, we don't have anything, right? Perfect. So we will use this, the same DB name as, what is the DB name is again? It's Mark. Okay, employee DB. So I'll just replace my employee DB here. My username password is same remain as a root, so no problem with that. So connectivity wise there should not be any problem at all. The second thing what I need to do is I'll create another package to create the DAO classes where we can insert the insert into DB. So com dot employee management dot DAO. Now DAO is again it's why it has went here. We create here com dot so I'll remove DAO, okay, and it will be user DAO. So for all these users related, right, databases access, so DAO stands for data access objects, and this is used for inserting the data of user related information, getting, deleting, removing, and all these things, right? So this is generally the way we use generally these things. So I'll write a method public void insert, or I'll write, man, public void save user, okay. So and what it will take, it will take the user object, because user object will have all these informations. So user, this is the user object, right? And employee model user, okay. Now from here when we get this registered user, right, we can simply create DAO user DAO equal to new user DAO, and then user DAO dot save, and we will pass that user. That's all. We will not be doing anything apart from that here. So you are not supposed to write code everywhere wherever you want, right? Your code has to be segregated. What is the work of DAO, right? So all the database related information will be done here. The servlet's work is to take the request forward to the business logic, right? The models is to modeling the database, modeling your applications. These are the models, as you can see, right? And the common part is something which is common across your application. So the database connectivity could be used anywhere we want, right? So I had put it into the common, right? Now what we need to do is here we need to implement the insertion part of the user. I hope you remember that I told you there is one more way to insert the data into the DB using the one way is using statement, what I had covered, and there is one more way that we use prepared statement, okay. So I'll tell you about that. That is very neat and clean way to do that, because statement is very clumsy and very I would say vulnerable to the hacking, okay. So the way we do is first we'll connect again the similar way. We'll get the connection first. So connection equals to connection factory dot get connection. So we got the connection from this particular com JDBC common, from where it is coming, okay, fine, yeah. So com JDBC common connection factory, perfect. So importing this, we got the connection, and then prepared statement stmt equals to connection dot prepare statement, and I'm missing something, one second. Connection dot prepared statement. Okay, yeah. So it is asking for SQL, right? So what you will do is string SQL equal to, what do you do? Insert into user values question mark, question mark, comma, question mark, question mark, comma, question mark. Okay, so I hope I am right with this prepared statement. So insert into user values 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many rows are here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The number of rows is there, right? So yeah, that's what you will do here. Prepare statement doesn't return the prepare statement. Am I missing something? 1 second. Prepared statement. I'm forgetting something. It has to be get the statement first, then set. Why it is giving problem? Prepare statement where? Should not give this. Prepared statement PST. Then statement equal to connection dot prepare statement. Yes, that is correct. No, cannot convert from Java SQL to. Oh man, the problem with this is okay. No, there is a problem that there are two packages which provides this. Okay, these are the checked exception. Yeah, now we're okay. The thing was happening, right? The prepare statement is one package is Java SQL, and then the prepared statement, and there is one MySQL dot that, which is not the correct one. So it was imported here, and that's the reason it was trying to cast it, and it was giving error. Okay, so how actually it works is statement dot set. Now the thing is in prepare statement, what do we do is we write the SQL query, and wherever we need to suppose wherever we supposed to put the value, right? What is the syntax? Insert into user values, and then you put the value name, and then email ID, then the password, and all this stuff, right? You put here, right? So instead of that, as we don't know, right, I mean what actually here it will be, right? It would be whatever I am providing here, right? So whatever I will be giving, username, password, and all these things, that should be going into the DB, and that should be, putting it here, right? So I'll put the question mark here, and then later on I'll set it up here. So how we will set it? So statement dot set. So first thing is our string. I think all are string only, and this is the index. So the first column is what? Username, right? So we will put as 1, which is the first question mark, and first question mark means the username, and so we will tell 1, and on one place what I am going to give, that is get username. So I am telling that whatever the username I have been forwarded, right, where I have forwarded, I have got here, I have created the user object here, I have set all these value. So I am setting here, I am putting all these data here, whatever I have got in servlet, and then I am passing it to the user DAO, right? And in user DAO I am telling, okay, save user, and in save user this user object has this data, so I am telling that user dot get username, and then again I am telling statement dot set string, and then position 2 I'll say user dot get password. So second position, as we know, it's a password, so second position I am putting as a password. Similarly, okay, so I'll make it 2 as a 3, I'll make it this as a 4, I'll make this as a 5, and this would be user dot get what is the third parameter, email, right? So get email, and then it should be dot get, I think, country, and the last one is dot get gender, right? So we have set all these value here, okay, and then we can simply say statement dot execute update, okay, and it will return you the number of row inserted. Okay, so the number of row inserted should be greater than 0 in order to make a successful entry. So we'll just check it on that, whether number of row is greater than or not, and we'll print it something like user has been created successfully. Okay, and better we will do one thing, instead of void we'll return boolean, and boolean means return true. Oh man. Okay, so what I'm telling that, okay, if it is inserted, return true, else if it is not in this one inserted, we'll say false. Okay, so whoever is calling this guy, okay, what is happening here? Yeah, I'm returning now. So it should be here. Okay, so if it is returning, I mean if it is greater than 0, that means user has been created, and then I'm returning true. So what I will do here is I'll get as a boolean save status, or better I'll say registration. So this is how the context change here. See, for a DAO it's something like number of row has been inserted and the status of insertion, right? So you can better way to do it something like this, boolean insertion status equal to false. Okay, so by default it will be false, otherwise it will be, if this is something like this equals to true, we'll make it as a true. Okay, and then we'll simply return insertion status. So only one return statement in this case. So by default it will be false, and if and only if it gets inserted, right, greater than 0, this will become true and it will return true. If it does not get inside this, it will return the false. Now in here, come here, so boolean registration status, so it will be true, that means it is registered, else it will say not registered, right? So what I can do is here is we can navigate the user to the we'll see something like we can create here. We can create one more page, put here, and we'll put registration success.jsp. Okay, so this registration.success.jsp will have will remove all these things from here, and okay, and here we will write something like user has been registered. Forget about my spelling mistake. I'm used to writing using the dictionary. So okay, so okay, so user has been registered successfully. Okay, and then we can provide the link here. A href. This is how we provide the link to any page. So href equals to index.jsp. I'll tell, okay, now go to the index.jsp, log in here. Okay, we'll tell something like you have been registered, has been successfully, index.jsp, log in here. Okay, okay, fine, so perfect. So what we will do is we will after the it becomes true. So if this is true, so we'll write something like if registration success is true. So if I put nothing, that means it is checking for true only. Response dot send redirect and put the page name. This is the way we navigate. See, actually I'm using the response object. There are two objects I told you, right? With request we get the data, right? So http servlet request. So as you can see, where to get the data I have always used request, but for sending the page to another place, right, I'm using the response object. So this is where we put the data into the response where it should go. So I'm telling that response.send redirect to the registration.jsp page, and it will say that registration has been successful. So let's hope that it works in one shot. If not, I would be a very bad programmer. So let's see. Okay, so far so good. I'm not registered, so click here. I'll put everything in details. So password, Divakar, Gmail, country India, and registered. Okay, perfect. So user has been registered successfully, and log in here. Click on this. It is taking me back to the index page where I can log in, and now I can log in with my user ID. Let me see whether data is present or not. That is perfect. So Divakar, password is pass here, email ID is there, country is here, and sex is here, right? So far it is good. Let me see if it does not work, what actually it will happen, right? I haven't handled that case, right? So I'll put something like else case, and I'll again response dot send redirect. I'll send redirect back to the registration page with some data. I will send something like status equal to failed, or something like error. Okay, so now how we can test it, right? So whether it is coming back or not, I'll do one thing. I'll change the password. So I'll put db name as this one, which db does not exist. Our connection will fail and it will not insert the data. So it should fail and should come back to the page to let's see. Okay, click here. So we'll fill all these something. I don't know what email ID it is, from where I came. I don't know. Okay, so yeah, there is some uh, null pointer exception. This is what I was not expecting, because I haven't handled the, okay, because I haven't handled the, so where actually it is giving user DAO 24. So user DAO 24, but I have handled, right? Okay, so let me exception. Okay, so exception will write something like exception.e dot get message. Okay, so whatever exception happens, right, now I think it should work. And let me redeploy it. Actually, I was not covering the all type of exception. It was only SQL exception. So let me submit again. Password must be filled out. Yeah, so as you can see here, in here status equal to error. Okay, so question mark status equals to error has come, and it has redirected to the same page. As you can see here, it has happened so fast that you, now we can show some message here in red or something, that you can do. I'll tell you later how we can, do all this stuff. So you can print the message that, okay, there has been, oh my God, so many mosquitoes here. Okay, so you can do that kind of things with JSP. Now what is the next thing we need to do? So I am registered here. Okay, I should be able to log in with this username and password, right? So in login servlet, what actually I'm doing nothing. I'm simply, getting the username and the password. So just let me try here. So I'll go to the login page. Yeah, so I'll write the walker and the pass as a pass login. So it went to the login servlet, and if it is fine, it should have printed in the console. Okay, so let me first correct that one. It is creating a lot of problem. Okay, so in login servlet, so it is calling the login servlet where, yeah, so do post username and password from servlet it is calling. So why it is not showing here? Okay, I closed it. Okay, anyways, so what we need to do it, how we can validate whether, user is there or not. So first thing, again, we will do some like something like here. uh, So login name is username and the password. Once we submit, it goes to the login servlet page. Login servlet page. Here we, what is the data type I had given? Sorry, the request type is post. So it should come to login servlet's post method, and then username and password. It should print it here, right? So let me go step by step and let me check it here. Well, it doesn't matter what I'm putting here, because right now I'm not doing the validation. Login. Okay, yeah. So username ASD and password is 123 inside do post method, right? We are here. What is the thing we need to do here to validate, right? How can you please? I want this answer from you guys, because it's nothing to do with Java. It's common logic. How we can validate whether a user is valid user or not? What we should do? Please do not write message. If you can speak, please speak. Any idea how we can validate? What do you think? What should be done? Actually, how generally it happens in your website when you log in, right? It asks for username and password, and once you log in, you see that okay, you are able to log in. How it happens? No idea, Pratik?
I guess that password and username.
Okay, so we got the username and password from the user, right? How do we validate from server side? How do we check whether the username is password is correct or not? How do we do that?
We have to match that with user
Yes,
name and
perfect. Right,
with
right.
data.
So with that username, we will query the database. We'll get the details of that user. We will check, we will match with username and the password. If both the things matches, then we will say, okay, you can go to the home page and you are logged into the system, right? So that's the way you can log into the home page, right? So we'll this is our the home page. Okay, I need to go to that home page only if a user is logged in. Just write it somewhere. This is the home page, so that okay. So the home page, just like it will print here, something like that. Home page will make it later better. Anyways, what is the things? What Pratik said absolutely correct. We need to do the validation across against the data what we have present in DB. So think here, a user has registered himself, right? And the database entry we have Divakar pass and email ID and then country, and then these things are not used for the validations. This email ID, country, and this. What is the thing we will be using? This username and the password, right? Now, once while logging in, right? So what generally we do? You do provide a username, you provide the password, right? So the username and password what you provide, maybe I provide this one, right, or XYZ, which is not the correct one. So if I find it out whether is there any username with XYZ, it will not find, it will simply say, okay, there is error with and that, and you are not a valid user. But suppose I somehow I came to know the username, right? I got it as a Divakar, but I don't know the password, right? I'll put the Divakar, that is fine. So internally we will query the database, search, select star from this particular table where username is Divakar. It will find out this row. Now the password, you are not the authenticated user. It's you are using someone else's account. You don't know the password. You have put password as ABCD. So the password what you have provided, we have got it here, right? This is the password what you have provided. And the from database what we got is pass. We'll match these two. If it does not match, we'll redirect you to the index page by saying you are not authorized to visit this site, or username password is incorrect. Please try again. And then if it is true, if it is both the things are matching, we will redirect to that user to the home.jsp. Flow is okay with you guys? You understood the flow, how it happens? See, these are the very good concept, I would say, where you will not find on internet, you will not find in book these things, the flow, how it works, how actually in real time application it works. So just pay attention, and if you have any questions, do let me know. Is that okay? Okay, so how do we do that, right? So here we have got the username and the password. So we need to fetch the data using this particular username, right? So in user DAO, we will write one more method here, something like public. to return user, get user by username, and we'll pass string username, whatever the username user is passing, right? So let me just check it here. So what do we need to do here? We need to get the data whatever the user has provided. So if I have provided ASD, or suppose I'm providing the right credentials only, I'm providing Divakar, right? So that Divakar will come here, and I will write something like this one: select star from user where username is equal to Divakar. It will return me this data, the entire data. As you can see, this is the query what we will be writing. Okay, so we need to write something like this only: string SQL equal to now, instead of data, as I told you, we'll write a question mark, and we will set it later. So we'll write select it should be in small also, but it's always good practice to write it something like this: select from user where username is equals to question mark, and then again we'll get the connection equal to connection factory dot get connection, and then prepared statement stmt equal to connection dot prepared statement, and we'll pass the SQL, and then we'll set stmt dot set string. At first index we'll set whatever the username we have got it. So we'll write everything in try catch. Okay, so okay, so select start from this. Once we do this, right, we need to execute this query, and once we execute it, it will give me the data. So execute. So after executing, yeah, execute query. This will give me the result set rs equals to, okay. So this result set, what it will return, it will have the data, and will write rs dot next, and we will check it whether if that is true. So user dot set username, we will write rs dot get string, the column name 1. So column name 1 corresponds to username, column number 2 corresponds to password, right? So this is how we can set it. So username, user dot set password, and then rs dot get string, column index 2. So 2th index will be printing this one username, that set string, set, then email id rs dot get string. I think we need only these stuff, so we'll not be getting the other details. For validations, we need only two. In fact, we don't need even email ID, so I'll remove this email ID also. So only two things I'm trying to get it. What I will do is, so after getting this, okay, we are creating, one second. So if there is a data, then we'll say, okay, new user and set the value and here and then return this one. So in login servlet, right, we can call it here something like user DAO equals to new user DAO, and then what you can do is user equal to user DAO dot get by name, and whatever you have got the user, right, username you have got, right, so you pass this username, right. So what actually it is happening here, so you have a, what is the problem? So you have received username and the password, right, and you have printed it successfully here. I'll just move it and put it here, okay, and you are passing that username to this user find by ID, and this find by ID actually what it is doing is it is querying the database with this help of that user, whatever the user you are providing, connecting to the DB, getting from the DB, putting into the database result, okay, and you can show it here that what you have retrieved. So if I'll say something like, if user is not equal to null, that means if there is a data, in case if there is a data, that means if it has found, SYSO will print like a user got from DB, okay. So user dot get username and password, so user dot get password. Okay, so we can display it user got from DB and the password is something like this. So what actually happening here, so once we got this, right, so this is the data holding which is from DB, and the username password what you have is here, right. So what you can do here is you can check it if username whatever the retrieve you have from the servlet dot equals ignore case, and then you can say, okay, whatever that you have got from the DB dot get username, if this is matching, and password what you have got dot equals ignore case, and then you will be writing like, okay, user dot get password. So if both the things are matching, I'll say response dot send redirect to the home.jsp. If it does not happen, then in that case, and this will be checked only if user is not equals to null. If it is not null, then only we are supposed to write like this, else in that case also we'll write we'll send it to the response dot send redirect to the again back to the index.jsp question mark status equal to invalid. So we'll something like we can, this is not necessary, this is just like I'm typing right now. So invalid username or password or incorrect, something like that you can write it, incorrect, and same thing you can pass it even if it is null, okay. So in all the cases you can write something like, if user ID is not null, then you check it whether it is both the things are matching. If it is matching, go to the home.jsp, else go to the index page, and if it is null also, in that case also go to the index page now. Okay, so let's try end-to-end application. We'll register one user again, and then we will try to check it. Okay, perfect. So we'll create with Amika name, let it be. So password is password1, or let it be abc abcd. Okay, password. Then Amika, let it be gmail.com, let it be us, and register. So register has been successfully, and login here. So I had given that Amika and password as abcd, and login. As you can see here, home page, employee management system. I think I've successfully landed to this page. And if you think it's a false, you can see here, login info. This has been provided while registering. User has been registered successfully, and then from the servlet, while checking that, username is this, Amika, password is ABCD, inside do post, and then from DB it has retrieved Amika only, and it has checked that it's a ABCD, and it has, perfectly gone. Now the thing is, what we can try is, try giving the wrong password. Try giving first username wrong. Okay, we'll give ABCD right password, but username wrong. You can see here status incorrect is coming, right? In this one, if you see, nothing has come here, so I'm not printing anything. That's why. If I put correct username but ABCDE wrong password, you will see here got ABCD password this, and I had provided ABCDERR, right? So it didn't match, so again it came back to the incorrect page. Now how we can set show it here in red format. So what we can do here is, in index.jsp page, whenever this page comes, right, on the top of the page, what we can do is, we can write some Java code here, and this is what you are seeing here is nothing but a get request of data, right? As I told you, the question mark, then key value pair, right? Status equals to incorrect. So whatever the value it is coming, right, this is the key value pair. We can retrieve this data in our index.jsp page, and if it is incorrect, we'll display some kind of message here. So what I will do is, I'll write something like a string message equal to request get parameter, and then we will try for searching for status. If it is set, okay, so if message is not equal to null, if there is some value inside this, okay, what we are going to do is, we will write something like a message, something error message equal to, we'll put it blank, and if that is there, we'll set it something like username or password is incorrect, please try again. Okay, so we are setting this message. So what actually doing, I'm intercepting this status, whatever it is coming, right? Status incorrect, right? So I'm setting that if message is not null, and then I can again try that if message dot equals, ignore case, is equals to in, if this is incorrect, the message is coming, okay, then it will set this error message as this one, and then what we will do is, here is below this login page here, right? After login, we'll print that message. So after login button, not registered. Okay, above the not registered, we'll in between we'll write some message. In red color we will write it, and we'll write that error message. Okay, so this will appear only when we have a problem with our login credentials. So we'll try once. We'll put something wrong password, wrong this, and yeah, perfectly fine, right? So index equals to incorrect, status equals to incorrect, and it is showing that username password is incorrect, please try again, right? So that's how we can intercept these messages whenever the request comes, right? You can get it. I'll give you one example of how actually this get what I'm doing here, right? You visit some website, I think frequently you might be visiting maybe amazon.com or .in. You search for any product here, maybe Apple laptop, Apple in laptops, right? i7 or whatever, right? So once you click on any product, I'll click on this product. You will see something like a question mark, I equal to UTF-8, again ampersand, that means the next one, QID, maybe it's a product ID, equal to this, series number maybe 81, keywords equals to what keyword I had put, Apple iPod, Apple I is this 7, right? So what does this designate? The thing is, in web browser, when to use get request is whenever you want something to be accessed through URL also. Like tomorrow I need to see the product, right? I can simply search with Apple. I think just now I searched, right? i7. Oh, no, it is not coming. Amazon, yeah. So if I go like this, I think it will come. Yeah, so as you can see here, I can simply copy this URL. This is how the URL works. I'll copy this URL and hit enter here and enter. It will directly open that laptop only. How it does is, when you hit that, right, it intercepts these data that okay, it's a computer section, okay, it's this, the product ID is this. So whatever actually it is coming here in this, it'll directly open that. This is how they read. And the same way I did also here is that I'm intercepting that message. If there is any message as a status here, we can set it like this. And same thing here, we can update for our registration page also. Remember, I was telling you that we can put same thing in registration also. So we can put it here again, and here we will write it like error. Okay, and we can put a message, registration failed due to some issue with server, please try after some time. Okay, so we can write like this, and we can print somewhere in the similar fashion. We can print it, register message, and we can print it after the registration page, after form. I can print it somewhere here. Okay, so this actually it works pretty well. Now if I change the password to root one, which is a wrong password, I should get, while registration page also it should show me something like that. Okay, it's already running. Okay, so this is perfectly fine. So I'll give something, I'll give password also something, and then email ID, won't take, okay, and password is wrong. So registration failed due to some issue with the server. Please try again after some time, right? So it's properly coming, as you can see here, right? So this is how generally we develop the web application, right? I think you guys have a little bit pretty much idea about how things works. I'll take one more session on theoretical concepts, definitely, that like sessions, wow, actually it manages. So tomorrow maybe I will be handling log out, login kind of thing, session management, how it happens in web application, and other operations like edit, delete, update, how we can do using the UI again, and we can display the data in UI, the employee management, you can add, delete, and all these things, right? So maybe a couple of classes will be there. And one more topic was left in core Java side, which was serialization. I'll cover that as well. And apart from that, I'll just take a little bit one or more, no, 1 2 sessions on frameworks. I'll check what frameworks I can cover. Maybe a little bit of Hibernate I would talk about. And then I'll keep 1 2 sessions for doubts if you have any problem, or if you want to repeat some topic or anything, right? If you want to, ask me to repeat something again, cover that, we will do that. Okay. So that's our plan for further. Keep studying, keep learning. That's good. You guys don't ask much questions, but that's okay. So any questions so far then? Should I wind up the session for today?
Yeah.
That's good, right? Okay.